Hey guys, welcome to the Don't Quit Your Day Job podcast, episode 5. You got myself, Mike, Adam, and Keith. We moved around the order today, so try not to be confused. Okay, guys, so let's begin about today's movie experience here. We're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about today, guys?
The Oscars.
Oscars are coming up this month. I can't believe it's already March of 2023.
It's another week, right?
It's another week. And it's kind of appropriate that Mike and I are wearing shirts of two films that were nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. Mike's wearing Pulp Fiction from 1992, I believe. I'm wearing Raging Bull from 1980, which was both were very good years in film. But anyway, the reason why we wanted to have this show was obviously Oscars are coming up, but there's a lot of things with Academy Awards history. There's been a lot of shocking moments, and we're not just basing it on last year with the slap heard around the world with Will Smith and Chris Rock, but there's been other shocking things with upsets at the Oscars, with films that you thought, oh, it's got to win.
Snubs,
major snubs, or a film that was nominated that historically is considered one of the greatest films ever made, or films that are just beyond classics, that didn't win, and you're like, what the hell what was the Academy thinking? So we were going to go through that, and then we're just going to talk about also films that have been forgotten at Oscar time historically, and then basically what we feel could make the show better, because everyone's always thinks it's a snooze fest. But maybe that's the whole thing about the Oscars. Maybe
and when you say which show, you're referring to the Oscars, not our show.
No, not our show. Our show, you better be up for our show. But I'm talking about the Oscars and now it's called the Oscars. For years growing up, it was always the Academy Awards.
More
now
prestigious.
It's prestigious. Now they just said the Oscars. And anyway, also, being that we're three great hosts, the Academy definitely needs to get another a good host to host the Oscars, because it's just been it just hasn't been good in a long time, and so we'll get into that. But
we're going to get into a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, the shocking moments, I guess for best picture, I would say there's been a lot of things, but it kind of goes back when you ask anybody what's the greatest film ever made, people are going to say Citizen Kane. Personal opinion, in my opinion, it's not. I still think it's The Godfather, but on paper, it's Citizen Kane, because it had everything thrown in that Orson Welles could think of, and it's beyond a classic. Believe it or not, it did not win Best Picture.
No, it did
How
not.
Green Was My Valley, which was directed by the legendary John Ford, won Best Picture. Now, there's a whole controversy with that, is because the character of Citizen Kane was based on
Charles Foster Kane.
Right, Charles Foster Kane was based on the tycoon at the time, Hearst or whatever.
William Randolph Hearst.
Hearst, and so there was a lot of campaigning from Hearst to make sure that the film did not win, because it was kind of very loosely based on him. So
nobody ever heard of the other film, right?
And never heard. No, no one ever heard. I mean, it comes up just because of that, because it won Best Picture, but. There's been a lot of stubs. I think personally, growing up, the three that I've seen, and ironically, two of them are directed by Martin Scorsese, number one was 1980, Raging Bull, was nominated for Best Picture, and it is considered one of the greatest films ever made. In fact, when the decade of the 1980s was over, they polled about 150 film critics, and they picked it as the best film of the 1980s.
Right.
It is, if you've never seen Raging Bull, you should. I'm wearing the shirt today. I had this in my closet. I said, well, this is so appropriate. It lost to Ordinary People. Ordinary People is a good movie. It deals with death in the family and suicide and all that. Good cast.
Very good performance. I remember from Mary Tyler Moore. Donald Sutherland, Timothy Hutton.
Good cast.
Judd Hirsch. Who's
Hirsch,
who's nominated this year, over 40 years later, for an Academy Award again for supporting actor. Timothy Hutton won in The
Fabelmans.
In Meet the Fabelmans, which you guys definitely know. You know a lot about. Anyway, But the thing with Ordinary People is it was directed first time directing by Robert Redford, who was a Hollywood golden boy, and so they're like, well, let's give it to Robert Redford. His first time directing, and let's give it everything from Best Picture, Director, Supporting Actor. When it should have went to Raging Bull. 50 years from now, Raging Bull is still going to be a film that people are going to study and look at, and it's a brilliant character study. That's number one. Number two was Dances with Wolves beating out Goodfellas for Best Picture in 1990. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Maybe because the Academy is a bunch of hypocrites because of all the treatment through the years of Native American Indians. So they wanted.
I need to see the frontier,
and they wanted to see. They wanted to do a movie. Not saying that it's not a good movie, Dances with Wolves, but if you ask anybody 50 years from now, a movie that's going to still be talked about, it's going to be Goodfellas. It's going to be Goodfellas, and that's men and women. That is one of the few films that I've mentioned to both of you that you ask, because you think, oh, mom movies, the guys are just going to watch them. No, women love Goodfellas. It's a great story. It's a true story, and it's just the performances. Scorsese just did a brilliant job on it, and it should have won Best Picture.
Did you know, Keith? I'm just going to interrupt here for a minute. The Bamboo Lounge was in my old neighborhood of Canarsie, Brooklyn.
Right, and I worked at the. If you haven't seen Goodfellas, you should be ashamed of yourself. But the wedding scene was a film that the legendary Oriental Manor, which no longer exists, but I worked there as a waiter. Actually,
legendary.
Well, it was around for 40-something years, and then it finally closed down. But the wedding scene of Henry Hill and his wife Karen was filmed, and that was actually the Florentine room that they shot it in. Just a little history. And it made it look bigger than it was. It was a big room, but it wasn't that big. But anyway, so a little off track on that. And then the third film, which is really shocking, which I remember at the time, it was probably one of the moments where I sat in front of my TV and my jaw dropped, was Shakespeare in Love beating Saving Private Ryan out for Best Picture. Up at that point, Saving Private Ryan was winning every award known to man. Even Spielberg took home Best Director that same night. And then out of nowhere, Shakespeare in Love wins Best Picture. Now, they're saying there was a whole thing with Harvey Weinstein, with Miramax, pushing it and doing a lot of under the table. Not Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
He could promote.
Yes.
He was a scumbag, but he could promote a film. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that's how he became a captain.
And he got his way.
Yeah.
So, but if you look, because in most people's opinion, including critics and just fans, like Saving Private Ryan may be considered the greatest war movie ever made.
It was certainly groundbreaking at the time. The sound effects alone.
And the thing is, people were just shocked that it didn't win Best Picture. So those are my three for pictures. I mean, if there's any that you guys can think of that you were like, wow, it didn't win and it should have won,
Well, I was reading a few lists, and this was very interesting. Because there were some films I think that we may have disagree about, or maybe we might agree about, as far as that really never got recognized. Films that we went to see. By the way,
Tank Girl?
No, not Tank Girl. No.
Not at the Roxbury?
No. How about remember we went to go see The Thin Red Line?
Yes. Terrence Malick.
Fantastic cast.
Very long movie.
Very long movie.
Yes. Travolta, Sean
very
Penn,
slow.
Everyone and their mother was in that movie.
Very slow.
But who won that year?
And George Clooney was everybody's mother.
Right, but who won that year? Wasn't the same year as Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah, I think it was, because I think that was the year of the World War II film.
Kind of canceled each other
World
out.
War II film. We'll get back to very interesting category we can talk about with subject with competing films later on in another topic. But E.T.
Oh, I always.
E.T. was never nominated for an.
No, it was.
I mean, it was. I'm sorry, never.
Didn't it win special effects or something?
It probably won special effects.
It won special effects.
Yeah.
The thing is, that was 1982. And what happened was Gandhi won everything that year.
That's right.
Sir Richard Attenborough won directing and won Best Picture. I mean, it is an epic biopic. But E.T. They just, I guess the Academy, and at that time the Academy wasn't ready yet to acknowledge Spielberg. because
Right.
2 years after that, after E.T., Adam, to add on to that, what you said is that what movie got 14 nominations in 1984, I believe, and 1985, excuse me,
I
1985.
don't know, Keith. What movie? Tell me.
I'm gonna tell you.
What movie? Tell me already.
The Color Purple.
That's right.
14.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg. Everyone. Oprah.
By the way,
Oprah was in that too.
Who did
right?
not get nominated for an Oscar?
By the
Spielberg.
way-
How do you
Spielberg.
give a movie 14 nominations and you don't even acknowledge the director?
Miss Cocaine Bear director herself, Elizabeth Banks, said
Yeah.
that Steven Spielberg never directed a female-led movie. And then somebody screamed out in the audience, "Color Purple!"
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
well,
you. Yeah.
all
How
right.
do you feel
See, if
now?
she
Well,
watched
it's
the
like-
show,
it's
then
like-
she would learn
How
something,
do you
right?
feel?
But she's
Yeah.
cleaning up now, so
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
and then but I'm saying that's another example. So go ahead.
And I still like her, even though she's... Never mind.
All right. So go ahead.
Here's the hit the roof. It's hit the roof time. Taxi Driver.
I know. Well, I
Yeah.
mentioned. Well, I did mention to you guys off.
Even I'm
camera.
like, I think you guys
Well, I'm gonna
may
t-
not agree with this.
Okay. Well, Mike and I,
I
were
think
talk-
Scorsese, as far as Scorsese in a body of work, Driver is even better than Goodfellas to me. That's me personally.
It's a
That's me
it's
personally.
very different
very
film.
different
Very different film.
Very different film.
Very different film, but in his body of work, I think Taxi Driver is the top.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna.
Goodfellas is still up there.
Well, I'm going
but,
to tell you.
yeah.
You mentioned Taxi Driver, and I mentioned this to Mike earlier today on the prior to the podcast, and I said because I was watching it recently, they had a whole Rocky, all the Rocky movies, and the success of the Creed movies now. But Rocky obviously won Best Picture in 1976. It was up against All the President's Men. It was up against Taxi Driver. It was up against Network.
A lot of big films
A lot of
that
big
year.
films.
Yeah.
Any other year, I would probably think Network probably would have won. Network took most of the acting categories. Peter Finch, Faye Dunaway, Beat You Straight. Jason Robards won Best Supporting Actor for All the President's Men. So they broke it up. They gave John Avildsen and The Picture for Rocky, the top awards.
Right.
But if you look at Network in a general, it's
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. So Taxi Driver kind of got a little. I don't think the Academy was ready to give that type of film Best Picture yet.
Because, it was kind of violent and all
Kind
that,
of violent
yeah.
and.
And you had this young lady in it.
It
It's
dealt,
kind
it
of
dealt with a lot of issues and stuff. So.
Okay.
But I agree. I mean, I think Taxi Driver is a classic.
It's an amazing movie. I just remember it was on Showtime, and I had not seen it. I think I've seen it in parts back in the '90s, especially presentation.
But are you okay with Rocky winning
And I
Best
just was
Picture
like,
that year?
I think that's when I appreciated it
Right,
the most.
but are you okay
as I
with
was
Rocky
older.
winning?
With Rocky? Of course. I mean,
It had everything.
It had everything.
it did. It did. I mean,
Fans liked it, critics liked it. It just
one of
came-
Stallone's best acting performances.
Yeah, he did. But I told
It had a
Mike
great
also.
script.
I said
I mean, even-
he
even
wasn't
though-
gonna,
even
but
though
he wasn't going to beat. No one was going to beat Peter Finch that year. Peter Finch
For
deserved
Network,
it
for Network,
Nobody
yeah,
was beating
yeah,
Peter Finch.
yeah.
He was brilliant in Network.
Okay, so let's move it along with.
But that's a great example.
Right, let's talk about some actors that were snubbed. Your
wife.
wife, Lisa, would appreciate this one. Gary Oldman for Sid and Nancy. As
Oh,
Sid
well,
Vicious.
that was an early.
And his-
But he
Yeah,
wasn't.
movie for him,
Was,
too.
I don't think he was nominated for that.
No.
No.
But a lot of people, but when I read this list, some people thought that he was snubbed.
Who was he snubbed against?
De
Do you
Niro
know
from
that?
Mean Streets, huh?
Who was he snubbed against?
I don't know.
You don't
I don't know.
know that one. Okay.
I was.
Anyone could
it's-
look that up.
Yeah,
though.
we've got
Yeah.
we've got to move things along here. We got
Yep.
we got other
Yeah,
categories,
yeah.
stuff things to talk about. Robert De Niro from Mean Streets. You said that. I guess maybe it was early. It was early. He really didn't get into his groove yet, or something like that. You said.
No, I mean, I think but no,
I mean, he was-
no. Mean Streets was 73. De Niro won the Oscar the next year for Godfather 2 for supporting actor.
Okay.
So
So
it was a year later he won his first Oscar, De Niro.
and actually, that was a more involved role because he had to learn.
He spoke all the Italian.
Italian.
Spoke all
yeah.
Italian.
Yep.
He had to have a convincing Italian accent.
He played a
Yeah.
brilliant.
No matter how
young
you
Vito.
feel about Robert De Niro, I have to say that he, in a lot of films, went the extra mile as far as learning Southern accents, Italian,
learning how to play the saxophone.
Losing weight, gaining
We're
weight.
learning how to play the
But
saxophone.
how
New
he
York, New
feels
York.
these days. Learning how to play the saxophone, just like when Bradley Cooper learned to play the guitar from scratch.
Method acting.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Right. In addition to directing and
Yeah.
starring in the remake of A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's those are actors. Those are actors. You have to admit. This one, Malcolm McDowell, for Clockwork
Orange.
Yeah.
She was nominated.
Yes, but he. Yes. Well, this is a mix of people that
Well, I can tell you who
I thought should have won.
Right. Well, do you know who won? But do you know who
and
won?
some
that
other
year?
people should.
Do you
Who
know
won that year, Keith?
Well,
Tell
everyone
us.
else I
Malcolm
know
McDowell
this
was
stuff.
so amazing
tell
in
us-
A Clockwork Orange.
Tell us who won that year.
Gene Hackman for The French Connection. You weren't beating Frank.
But
you weren't
but Malcolm McDowell, yes, Popeye Doyle, okay, yeah. I watched the movie Your House. We watched it.
French Connection is one of the greatest films ever made.
Gene Hackman's fantastic.
It was filmed over here,
But Malcolm
too,
McDowell to me went to another level. He just had to play this complete.
He was like crazy.
Psychotic. Because I think the Malcolm McDowell today has to be Christian Bale. Would you agree? He's the closest thing. Right. I mean,
Or Joaquin Phoenix.
Or Joaquin Phoenix.
Very close.
Yeah.
A little off track. You know a movie that he's great in and I love, and it's one of your favorites, is Time After Time.
Yes. When he played
H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells. Yes.
Great movie. Directed by Nicholas
And
Meyer.
totally
who
different-
who
totally
also
different type
directed
of,
Star Trek Wrath of Khan.
But we
Great
got to
sci-fi
move
movie.
forward
Right,
because
go ahead.
we're running out of time, guys.
Sidney Poitier for In the Heat of the Night.
Well, it was going to be it was going to be him, or was he nominated? I know Rod Steiger won.
I'm not.
Rod Steiger took Best Actor for that.
I think he was nominated. I'm not sure.
Right.
I'm not sure, but a lot of people wanted him to win.
Well, the thing is with Sidney Poitier, think about this, because I just watched he did 3 masterpieces in the same year. Sidney Poitier. He did To Serve with Love. He did Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and he did In the Heat of the Night, all in the same year. Imagine that.
Wow.
All of that, and
3 great films.
3 great
too.
films, and I just watched To Serve with Love again, and that's my favorite Sidney Poitier movie.
And he definitely opened the door for black actors, I guess.
But
I guess there were.
But he did
before that. I mean, as far
Right,
as
not really.
but he did win the Academy.
no.
But he won the.
I mean, as far as getting more dignified roles, I guess.
No. Sidney
while.
Poitier was like the groundbreaking.
Yeah, he won
Male
the
actor.
He won the Academy Award
Well,
for
no,
Little.
that's what I'm saying. He was
Right, yeah,
groundbreaking.
yes.
Right.
Opened the door. For,
Yes.
Wait a,
Yes, definitely.
what did I just say?
But
Yes, I agree.
What did I
yes,
just
I
say,
agree.
Internet?
But he did. No, but he did. He did win the Academy Award for Lilies of the Field, which was a
That's
few
right.
years in '65.
Right.
So
okay.
it's not like he wasn't recognized.
Now this is the one that Keith would really appreciate.
Yeah.
Judy Garland for Wizard of Oz.
You're an ass.
I'm messing with. I'm messing with. She never won the Academy Award, and I'm not sure if she was nominated, but she never won the Academy
No,
Award.
she got a Juvenile Award for Wizard of Oz.
Oh, a Juvenile Award? What's that?
A Juvenile. They gave it like to young actresses. Like Haley Mills has one for The Parent Trap, or for.
Do they
Paolo
still have
Pollyanna.
that?
No,
I don't think they
No,
have
no,
it.
yeah, that had to
It was
be
a
one,
time
yeah.
when Oscar did a lot of things differently. Like they gave special Oscars, so they would give actors who were young roles for like Mickey Rooney. I think has one for playing those Andy Andy Hardy films.
I
Right,
never.
So, well, anyway,
I've
never
heard,
heard of
I've heard of the Andy Hardy
so,
films.
right,
I've heard
so
their-
basically, that's
Andy
what
Hardy
the Academy
films,
was
but,
doing. They gave out it was like a juvenile award.
Never seen any.
All right.
All right, we'll just run through this a little quickly since we're running
I
out
can
of
give
time.
you 2.
John Cazale for The Godfather.
Oh yeah.
Marilyn Monroe, Some Like It Hot.
Wait, John Cazale?
Cazale.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I would say he should have.
Fredo.
No, I think he didn't really have a big role. You mean for Godfather 2?
Godfather.
Probably
Godfather,
two, yeah, he had a
Godfather,
bigger
Godfather,
role in
two.
two.
He didn't really
I'm
have a
sorry.
big role in 1.
Right.
Yeah, they
But do you
saved
think
it
he should have been
for 2? Yes, absolutely.
nominated?
Yeah, if you John Cazale did 5 films.
Is it
in the
Cazale? Cazale.
Because I think it's
Cazale.
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 Cazale. Well, anyway,
Tomato.
if you look up
Fredo.
John, if you don't know that's
Fredo.
right, Fredo from The Godfather.
Fredo.
John Cazale or Cazale did 5 films in the 70s, and all 5 movies either won Best Picture or were nominated. They were The Godfather, The Conversation, Dog Day Afternoon, Godfather Part 2, and The Deer Hunter. 3 out of those 5 movies won Best Picture.
He died young
And
too.
he died young. He died of cancer. He was actually Meryl Streep was his girlfriend in real life. So and they did The Deer Hunter together. And then
Right.
he died right after. Like they had to shoot his scenes quickly. Great actor. There's actually a documentary about his life. If you look it up, And it's sad.
Who would you compare to John Cazale today? As far as one of these who had a very short career but did a lot in that short career, very memorable.
Maybe Heath Ledger?
No, I'll give you a lot.
I didn't think about that.
I'll tell you who.
Sal Mineo.
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman, yes.
Okay. Yeah, Chadwick Boseman.
A few memorable roles that he had in a short time, yeah.
Right, and in every movie that he starred in, playing like everyone from James Brown to Jackie Robinson.
That's right.
To Thurgood Marshall, and then going into the Marvel. That's big. So go ahead.
And of course, Black Panther.
Right, but that's what I meant. The Marvel universe.
Well,
right.
Marilyn Monroe for Some Like It Hot.
It's a good performance.
I never thought about this. When I thought about this list, until I read about this, I said, but they said she was kooky and funny and like she really.
No, she was comedic. Yeah.
Right.
It was cast well.
There are a lot of people that think that she was a better actress than most people. Remember.
She just got portrayed as the dumb blonde,
right?
And
she wasn't a dumb blonde.
No,
and now with this Netflix film, and everything like
I can tell you one movie that
they're showing a different side of her and all that. A lot of people trashed the movie.
No, she was good. You know what movie she was very good in? It was actually, I think, a Hitchcock, a Niagara.
I never saw that
Watch
one.
that.
No.
She's very good in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Charlie Chaplin.
He got yes. Well, they did give him the honorary Oscar in 1971, I believe.
And that was because he was kind of into what's the director who like the young girls?
Woody Allen?
No, the other one, the one who directed Rosemary's Baby and
Roman Polanski.
Roman Polanski, yeah.
Didn't he have that type of problem?
Yeah,
he had that
similar problem. Yeah,
and that was back in the day when pedophilia wasn't accepted.
Right.
Those days are over. I hope not. I hope not.
They were always not accepted. Let's just make that clear. Right. Pedophilia was never accepted.
Hopefully.
All right. So
hopefully, we won't.
What do you got more on here?
River Phoenix for Running on Empty.
He was
By the way,
he was nominated.
He was in Stand By Me too.
But he didn't win.
He didn't win. No.
He didn't win. He had a good career too. A very good short career. Stand By Me. Running on Empty.
The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones.
Well, no, it wasn't Adventures of Young Indiana.
What was it called?
That's what
it was.
He was a surprise.
Yeah.
He actually was a surprise. This was before the internet. This was 1989. So nobody knew that he was going to be young Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And he was great.
Yeah.
And you learn why. What did you learn?
You learn how Indy got the scar. And his fear of snakes.
And his fear of snakes. Exactly.
Snakes. I hate snakes.
And who gave him the hat?
Who played?
And how he got the whole idea of using the whip.
Who played?
I don't remember that.
But who played River Phoenix's father in Running on Empty? We mentioned him. We just mentioned them. Judd Hirsch.
Judd Hirsch.
Yeah. And we forgot about that. When we were talking about Judd Hirsch a few weeks ago, a while back, we forgot about Running on Empty.
Yeah.
That was on his.
Well, we're going to get into
his filmography.
Yeah.
Anthony Perkins never got an Oscar.
No, I don't even think he was nominated for Psycho.
But I think I remember his performance in that. I think he should have.
I don't know. We'd have to look that up.
Yeah, who did he go against that year? What was that? 1960?
Yeah, I'm trying to think who won that year.
I don't remember. Anyway, we can always look that
up.
People can look that up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to directors. This is gonna floor you because you've heard of all these directors, and you're gonna be like blown away.
I know who you're gonna say.
Okay, first off, Alfred Hitchcock.
Yes,
never got an Oscar.
Right, and that was the funny thing with Spielberg. Before Spielberg got his Oscar, his first Oscar for Schindler's List, I think he sat down. I could have been with Barbara Walters or someone, and they brought up the thing about getting shunned over for Color Purple, and not even being nominated. He was nominated for Raiders and stuff, and E.T., but he didn't. And then he says, and he brought out a good point. He said, Alfred Hitchcock never won an Oscar.
Yeah, right. And he was a fantastic director.
So he says, I guess I'm in good company.
So many great movies.
Now,
Hitchcock.
Now, just for. Actually, my God, so many movies. Yeah. Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick.
How did Stanley Kubrick not win an Oscar?
Look at Full Metal Jacket.
Spartacus,
yeah.
Full Metal Jacket.
Shining.
Yeah.
We can keep
We
going
could go
on. We can
Yeah,
go.
you can go on.
Maybe some of those movies were a little weird for people.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
that's what
I was
it
gonna
was.
say Barry Lyndon, but not Barry Lyndon.
I think he was. No, he was. I think he was nominated for that. He was because that film was up for Best Picture. That's one of his films that's just. It's kind of like slow. I'm not a fan of it.
Which one?
Barry Lyndon.
It's
Ryan
so,
O'Neal.
photography is amazing.
Yeah.
Supposedly. I forgot the photographer.
All right.
Who was, but Tarantino has not won an Oscar yet. If he makes one more movie, I think he's going to get an honorary Oscar.
Right.
I mean, but just for the last film alone, just the reimagination of the Manson.
All right. Now I see somebody on your list right there that I'm shocking that you're gonna.
Well, I'll just say really quickly, Ingmar Bergman, if you're a fan of his films,
Right. But
Seventh Seal, various other kind of like artsy. Was he Finnish? Is like is he from Finland or is he?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
But I can
Alright.
see the next one on your list. I agree with you 100%.
Ridley Scott.
Yes. Now, now this is the thing I don't get. I don't know who
Worked
won.
in so many genres.
Okay,
of
how
film.
do you give Gladiator Best Picture,
And not best director.
Best Actor, and every other award Gladiator won that year, and you don't give Ridley Scott directing?
That always puzzled me. How do you give it best film? It's the director that made the film so great.
Right.
So
well,
it's mind blowing.
then it could
there's
go,
also
but-
writing.
Well, no, the thing is,
cinematography.
no,
Of
but,
course,
see,
but the director is the person that,
but
you know.
the Academy likes to break it up, and they do that a lot. I'll give you one example of a movie that a lot of people, when I looked up
Sound.
movies that they said about of movies that should have won that year, but it was controversial. It was Brokeback Mountain. They gave Ang Lee.
I didn't put that on the list.
Right.
But,
They gave Ang Lee Best Director.
Right.
But they didn't give the movie Best Picture. Instead, you know what won that year?
Today that would have won like.
Right, but you know
Forget
what? You know what won that
Brokeback
year?
came out
And people are gonna be like, how
Sweep
did that
the
movie?
Academy
How did
Awards
that
today.
movie win
Which
Best?
movie? I forgot.
Crash won.
Crash. Oh yeah.
And people are like, who cares about Crash?
I saw Crash in the
Right.
theaters. I thought it was good.
But did it deserve Best Picture?
Next to Brokeback Mountain.
Yes. No. But they didn't.
You know,
want to
no
give
matter
Brokeback
how you
Mountain.
feel, no matter how you feel about the story or whatever, Brokeback Mountain or whatever, it was it was a love story.
It was a story.
It's a
It's well
story. It's a
written.
well-written story.
Very well acted, but two very good. Jake Gyllenhaal just proved
And he's-
I think he's a bit underrated, Jake
he
Gyllenhaal.
is.
Right,
He's
and I
underrated.
think both.
He
of
has
them-
been in every. Not all of his films have knocked it out of the park as
Right.
far as quality.
Well, I think
But
both.
it's
But yeah,
acting.
And I think both
in
of
that
them were
film was-
nominated
For
for acting in that movie. I know Heath
Yeah.
Ledger definitely won.
and Heath Ledger, forget
Yeah.
it. It's just
So-
no matter how you just.
All right.
If you've not seen a movie, get over your hang-ups and stuff, and with everything that's going on today and stuff like that, and just think about story and a good and just a well done film. The women are great in it. Michelle Williams and Hathaway, Linda Cardellini has a small part in it.
But
It's just,
that was probably, when we looked up upsets, that was one of the biggies,
yeah.
which I agree.
Okay, Nora Ephron, no won an Oscar. She's made some of the best romantic comedies.
Rom-coms, yeah.
Yeah. Sleepless in Seattle, As Good as It Gets,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
As Good as It Gets is a fantastic movie.
All right.
Period.
All right. So I'm going to give you some great films that were forgotten on Oscar time historically for Best Picture too. Number one, we all love the movie Heat.
Now wait. That was nominated.
It wasn't nominated.
Oh, it wasn't nominated. Oh,
It was
right.
a-
Okay.
I'm talking about a movie that was so big for its time. It's basically a crime. It's a
I think-
modern day. It was just done. It was just.
I think that was a little too much of an action movie for the Academy. I think for them.
I mean, you had
I would've
Pacino
nominated
and
it.
De Niro
So,
and Val
for
Kilmer.
number two.
Great cast.
The Long Goodbye.
Good sound, too.
1973 with that was like a Philip Marlowe thing, with what's his name?
Robert Mitchum.
No. Elliot Gould.
Elliot
Gould,
Gould.
Right.
yeah.
Now, I mean,
He was big in
and
the
it did-
70s.
Right, he was big, but the movie was huge, and it didn't.
He was
make it-
underrated, too.
And then the one
MASH.
and then the one film that basically changed filmmaking in general, and the reason why we have our stupid 10 movies now being nominated, which in the early days they were 10 movies being nominated, and then they went to 5, but we had 5 forever. I think there's too many films being nominated now. You don't know why. Do you really need to have 10 films nominated for Best Picture? Knock it down to 5. You niche it. You make it a tighter race. But it was The Dark Knight.
That's right.
The Dark Knight, people felt got shunned over and should have been nominated for Best Picture. And that is probably
Passed over.
No, it just should have been. And then, ironically, the next year is when the Academy decided, we're gonna nominate up to 10 films now for Best Picture, because people spoke up about The Dark Knight that it should have been nominated for Best Picture.
Right.
So that's the thing I want to get into. And then the two actors that shocking, because I know we can go on and on and on.
We gotta move.
Yeah,
we gotta move
is
on
that
to the next.
two
turn into a two-parter.
two shockers of they were both Best Supporting Actor categories that I was in front of my TV that both times, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And both of them, people thought they were going to win. Was Eddie Murphy losing for Dreamgirls to Alan Arkin for Little Miss Sunshine? I'm sorry.
Eddie Murphy had a great performance.
Eddie Murphy was amazing in
I
Dreamgirls.
sort of remember his performance was good. I don't.
And they gave it to Alan
remember it
Arkin
that well.
for a body of work. They didn't
Right.
want to give Eddie Murphy an Oscar. That's what it came down to. They did not want to give him an Oscar. And in the
He also did Norbit.
That's what hurt.
Yeah, but
See, no,
Yeah.
but that's true. No,
Was that in the same year?
Which was,
Yeah,
wasn't even.
It was.
It was the same
Which,
year.
despite
why.
the fact that Eddie
It
Murphy
negated the
does all
good
those-
performance.
That's what. No, you're right, because that's what kind of like the Academy's like. Well, this is a man that just did Norbit. We're going to give him an Oscar. So anyway, and then the second one, which was not too long ago, it was like 20s. Was Stallone losing to Mark Rylance?
For Bridge of Spies.
Bridge of Spies, and Stallone did it for Creed, where Stallone was winning every award up into that.
I haven't seen Bridge of Spies, but I heard his performance, and I've seen Mark Rylance in a few things, and he's a fine actor.
Yeah, there's a movie.
very good.
Right, there's a movie out now that's on.
Not just Ready
that's-
Player One.
That's on. I think it's coming on Amazon or something, where he's like a tailor or something, and he's mom.
Isn't it called The Tailor?
I think it's called something like
I
that.
thought there was a movie already called The Tailor.
No. It's called.
You forget the dresser.
And in these mopses, he gets involved with
Albert Finney.
he gets involved with these mopses because he has no choice and stuff. So anyway, but those are the two.
Oh no! But wait. So he lost. So Stallone lost out to
Mark Rylance.
Mark Rylance.
So Stallone should have gotten
Stallone
it
for Creed.
Stallone should.
Right.
The Academy did not want to give Stallone an Oscar. They did not want to. So now the whole thing. I mean, we can go on. Well, I know I see your list here, and stuff, but.
Yeah,
We're running out of time.
running out of time at this point.
Yeah.
All right.
Gotta wrap it up,
well,
guys.
Actually, that's a great segment. How do we make the Oscars better? Why does it, like, it seems like it goes on forever and it doesn't end?
Can I just put my 2 cents in?
Yeah, that's what you're here for.
So I remember watching clips of old Academy Award presentations, and early on they had like Bob Hope, and everybody was dressed up in a tuxedo, and everybody was classy. There weren't all these like jokes and everything, making fun of people. It was like a serious event. And then you had Bob Hope for many years, also,
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson, and Johnny Carson and Bob Hope did it for a very long time.
Billy Crystal.
And Billy Crystal, he brought it into a different era. He put out comedy. He had musical numbers. He made kind of made it light of.
He did the stuff where
things.
he actually ended up being in the
In
films.
the movies, yeah.
Right.
And he was
even
great.
did Sammy Man.
Okay. But, it's not like that anymore.
No.
They can't even find a permanent host.
No.
You're trying to, let's do 2 hosts. Let's do Franco and this one.
That was a disaster. Anne Hathaway and Shane.
Anne Hathaway.
Good actors, but not good hosts. I always think comedians are better.
I'll still stand by it.
Better.
Anne Hathaway was better than him.
Oh yes, all right. I'll give it to
He
you.
didn't want to be there.
He didn't want to be there.
He
He didn't want to be there.
admitted
She
it.
did.
Yeah.
Like, she looked like she was about to smack him around.
Yeah, she was like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "I'm like trying to."
But yeah, what I think should happen is they should maybe think about going back to the old way. Class the joint up.
Well, what
you know
happened
what I mean?
was too. And then they did mistakes where they thought, "Oh, remember all the years when Johnny Carson hosted it 5 times? Let's get David Letterman in, who's a late night king."
And that
stuff.
was
and we all know how that worked out.
not a good one.
Go ahead,
Oprah?
Uma.
Oprah?
I mean, that was just Dave.
Like to buy a monkey?
But right.
Like to buy a monkey?
Right, exactly. But Letterman knew he screwed up, and Letterman knew it was a big mistake. And what are you going to do? Then you had
Did Bruce Valanche write that year?
Who knows?
Bruce Valanche writing that year? Maybe
Could've
that was
been.
the problem.
But you know who was very good? But people,
maybe he didn't write that year.
See, a lot of people knew of his work, and he's a song and dance guy. And so
Bruce Valanche writes for the Oscars.
Was Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
Yes,
He was great.
Yeah.
He was great, but people weren't ready to accept him as a
Hollywood doesn't really like
Yeah.
him because
Yeah.
Family Guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think for some time now, Oscar viewership has fallen off.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we can watch it on YouTube the next day.
the
so.
politics have not helped.
No.
No.
Politics of the
Everybody's on their soapbox.
Everybody's on a soapbox. The movies have
It's an
messaging
award
now.
show.
The movies have messaging now. Nobody wants to hear from everything from Littlefinger. That's Game of Thrones. What did I get that right? Littlefather. Yeah, from Littlefather. Right. Nobody wants to hear.
No, that was
from the time of Littlefather
that was
to
nearly 50. Over
You mean
50 years ago.
Marlon Brando?
When Brando
Yeah.
when Brando didn't accept the Oscar for The Godfather, he was home. He sent Sacheen Littlefeather, who was a Native American, to basically bring out the point of the treatment of American Indians on screen, and blah blah blah. So to bring out a point. But there's been all these controversies through the years in shocking moments. Obviously, it led to the slap last year, with Chris Rock.
From Littlefather to the slap,
and-
it got ridiculous,
Yeah.
and that was a stunt. I think
I
the
just
slap was a
want
stunt.
to tie this up now. Speaking about the slap, we had recently Chris Rock did his live Netflix special
I
about.
think that was last night. Right?
It was last night. I don't want to date this too much, but when you watch this, it had already happened maybe a week already. But Chris Rock, at the very end of his special, he addresses the slap heard around the world. And I'll just leave it at that, and everybody can go and watch that when they get a chance. So we're going to wrap it up right here, guys. Great show.
Is this going to be a two-parter? Or is it going to be...
No, we're going to end it right here.
There's so much other stuff to talk.
Hey, guys, we got other shows we could do, and we're going to wrap it up here. Guys, thank you as always. Remember to always click the like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that bell for your notifications on YouTube. Make sure you guys comment and share our YouTube channel with everyone. We appreciate you watching, and
Make sure you watch the Oscars.
watch the Oscars, which are coming up very shortly. Okay, everybody, take care, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye now.